Good morning, everyone, and boy, am I so excited to welcome you to the inaugural Young Women in Life Sciences virtual conference. My name is Morgan Nichols, and I serve as Miss South Carolina, in addition to Investor Relations Manager for SCbio. And on behalf of the entire SCbio board and staff, I am truly so excited to welcome you and be your host for today. This event is very special to me, as so many female mentors and role models have truly changed my life and sparked my interest to go into the field of life sciences. I'll share a little bit more about my story and how I ended up where I am today throughout today's program. As a graduate of Clemson's College of Science with a degree in genetics and a minor in business administration, I ended up here at SCbio. Fun fact, when I was sitting in your shoes, I actually wanted to work for ESPN and be a sideline reporter for sports. So you never know where you're going to end up. But through events just like this one, real-world experiences, and phenomenal women mentors, I really found my passion for the life sciences and have loved working for SCbio. So what exactly is SCbio? Well, SCbio is the lead life sciences industry association formed to build, advance, grow, and innovate South Carolina's life sciences industry and ecosystem. So now you might be asking, what exactly are the life sciences? Well, the life sciences are composed of 6 different segments: pharmaceuticals, medical devices, digital health and health IT, so think of your Fitbits or your Apple Watches. We've got bioag, bioscience distribution, and research and testing in medical labs. And fun fact, there are over 678 life science firms here in the Palmetto State. AKA, there are so many places that you can have a job right here in South Carolina. The average salary is over $78,000. And I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty good to me. So not only do the life sciences present well-paying jobs and plentiful jobs for your future, but it's also an industry that's incredibly mission-driven, where you directly impact others' lives. The life sciences work shoulder to shoulder with our healthcare industry to make sure that South Carolinians have the best quality of care. Have you ever heard of COVID-19? Well, yeah, so have we. And this industry is directly in the center of this pandemic, from COVID-19 test kits to developing a vaccine. At the end of the day, this is really what is going to make you get out of bed every morning and impact patients' lives. Today, we've got a lot in store for you, from state leaders to educational and career panels. Get ready to learn a lot. To conclude the program, we will have breakout sessions where all of you students here today can get a one-on-one conversation with some of our female leaders. And we'd also like to give a special shout out to PhRMA for sponsoring today's events. Before we kick things off, we have a few housekeeping items to go over. Although you don't have the ability to use your camera function for the first half of our program, we encourage you to snap a selfie in your large classroom, in your auditorium, or while at home, and share it with us on social media using the hashtag SCbioWomen, and tag us in your photos. That's hashtag SCbioWomen. And like I said, snap a selfie, show us where you're watching from, tweet it, Instagram it, Facebook, because we want to see you. We've also worked really hard today to make today's event fun and interactive, and we need your help to do that. Right now, we're going to test out our chat feature by inviting everyone to comment where you are watching from. So make sure that you select all panelists and attendees in the drop-down menu so everyone can see your comments. All right, so let's test this out, everyone. Tell me where you're watching from. All right, let's take a look in that chat. And it looks like we've got a lot of people at home. Grace, Allison, Hunter, Anna, Newberry. We've got a lot of people watching from home. Jordan White from Lexington High School. I see Allendale Fairfax High School, Columbia College, Irmo, Swansea, River Bluff. Wow, what a great representation of our state. And great to see that we've got someone watching from their bed. So hey, I love it, I love it. So make sure to keep this chat open throughout the program, because that's how we'll interact and that's how we'll engage. We will engage with you. And we'll also be sharing some essential links that you won't want to miss out on as well. And like I said, we want this to be collaborative and engaging. So use that chat box. Keep your chat open throughout the program, and we've got a special surprise. The top 3 interactive at-home individuals, and it looks like we've got a lot based on that chat box, will receive a special SCbio swag bag in the mail. So stay engaged, and it's so great to hear from all of you in that chat box. So speaking of our state and our fantastic leadership in South Carolina, I'm excited to introduce to you someone who's a true champion for female leaders in our state. It is my honor to introduce South Carolina's 93rd Lieutenant Governor, Pamela Abbott. She's an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, and the first female Republican lieutenant governor in our state's history. She holds a Bachelor of Business Administration and Accounting at Cleveland State University and is the mother of 3. She lives in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. So please head to that chat box just where you were and help me welcome the Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina, Pamela Abbott. Hi, Lieutenant Governor. Thanks for joining us today. So excited that you're here.
Oh, Morgan, thank you so much. And thank you for all you do, getting girls excited about the life science world. I just want to say good morning to everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Before I became Lieutenant Governor, I didn't even know about this wonderful world of life science. So I'm so glad for SCbio and what they're doing to bring awareness. So as a mom and as a woman business owner and now a female Lieutenant Governor, I am so happy to get young girls excited about this new world. You know, I represented South Carolina with SCbio at the National Life Science Conference, and I was amazed. It was probably the largest conference I've ever seen. People from all over the world, obviously life science is a global market, looking at South Carolina, wanting to call South Carolina their home. We are really putting our name on the map across the globe. You know, we have such great things going on in our state. We have a pro-business ideology here. We make sure we keep our state beautiful and welcoming, and companies are really looking here. We have things that they can't offer, like our inland port. So I just want to let you know that the future you're looking at is bright, and Team South Carolina is working to continue to grow this industry and make it even more vibrant here in our state. You know, COVID-19, as Morgan said, has really shown us the impact of what the life science world can do and has done, and what they continue to do. You know, right here in South Carolina, we have wonderful companies like Vicor. Vicor, I had the pleasure of touring their facility and seeing what they're doing to help the fight with COVID-19. We have other great companies like Thorne and Charles River who are really moving the needle on the well-being of people, not just here in our state, but like I said, across the globe. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your interest. You know, we as ladies can make a huge impact in the world. You can see what we've done and what we have left to do. Right here in South Carolina, female-owned businesses amount for $5 billion of our economy. So thank you for your excitement about the life science world. The governor and I, along with the rest of Team South Carolina, will make sure that we continue to poise our state for continued growth, especially in this industry. I see nothing but growth here. And so study hard, learn a lot, make a lot of connections, just like I have here. And I think you'll know that this is the right spot for you to be. So enjoy your day. And Morgan and SCbio, thank you so much for having me. I think you know my heart is really full for the life science world.
Thanks, Lieutenant Governor, and you've been such a champion for female leaders in our state. So we are so grateful for your participation and your support of the life sciences. So we appreciate you being here and welcoming our attendees.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Lieutenant Governor. Now we are going to transition and get started right away with our first panel. And I would like to bring on 2 fantastic college students who will actually be moderating today's educational panel. So please help me welcome Amanda Lamati, a senior bioengineering major, and Ashley Willis, a senior microbiology major, who both are fantastic interns at SCbio. So Ashley, Amanda, take it away.
Thanks, Morgan. I'm so excited to be here with Ashley today to moderate the My Next Steps in Life Sciences panel. When I was in high school, I was lucky to have so many strong women who taught my biomedical science classes, and the culmination of these classes was creating a final biomedical innovation that we used in a pitch competition. The entire innovation process showed me my passion for medical device design, and this led me to pursue a major in biomedical engineering.
Thank you, Amanda, for sharing your story a little bit. And on that note, I'm really curious to see what all of our attendees are interested in majoring in, seeking a degree in. So go ahead in the chat box and let us know what you're interested in. And while you're talking in the chat, I want to tell a little bit about my story. So I actually had a lot of female mentors throughout my life that inspired me to major in microbiology. And I would say that I learned a lot about biology, viruses, bacteria, and I love it. And so it's been a major that I've continued to pursue. I've done a lot of research in my major, and so it's been awesome. But I see we have interior biochemistry, nursing, pre-med, chemistry, pharmaceuticals. We've definitely got a very well-rounded group today.
And there's truly no one better to talk about those opportunities than the representatives from the colleges and universities themselves. I'd like to welcome 5 dynamic and incredibly intelligent ladies who make it their mission every day to develop the next generation of talent in South Carolina.
While this is not a comprehensive list of all the opportunities that lie ahead of you, please type in the chat box and give a warm welcome to the following panelists. Today we have from Clemson's College of Science, Dr. Allison Starr Moss, a senior lecturer and academic advisor, genetics and biochemistry department. From Columbia College, we have Dr. Marley Marsh, the chair of the biology program. And joining us from Florence Darlington Tech and SIMT, we have the associate vice president, Teresa Gardner.
And please also help us welcome Dr. Silke Hinrich, a lab director and instructor from USC's Biomedical Engineering program, and last but certainly not least from Furman University, Dr. Victoria Turgeon, the professor of biology and director of the Master of Science in Community Engaged Medicine. Wow, what a fantastic group of panelists here to educate our attendees on the possibilities that lie ahead after high school, which for many of our attendees could be coming in the next 1 to 2 years. Let's jump right in.
So to all of our panelists today, let's start by having you introduce yourselves, your college, and share a little bit more about some different STEM degrees that your college offers. We can just go right around. We can pop off with Dr. Allison Starr Moss to begin.
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Allison Starr Moss. I am actually from South Carolina. I graduated from Burns High School in the upstate, and I went to Clemson University for my undergrad. I went to Texas A&M for my PhD. I got a PhD in genetics, and I study canine genetics. Can everybody hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I use dogs as a model for human inherited diseases, but as a faculty member, I also work really closely with my undergraduates in genetics and biochemistry. And at Clemson, we have 3 to 4 colleges that house our STEM degrees. And these include everything from agriculture and human health to engineering, biological sciences, math, chemistry, and physics and astronomy. So as you're looking at majors for college, know that that's the first step in assuming ownership of your career, and let your interests and your strengths really push your education forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much for introducing yourself today. Next, we can have Dr. Marley Marsh. You can go ahead.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the conference. I'm so glad to be here with you today. I am also from South Carolina. I went to Canvin High School, and I went to Clemson for my graduate degree, and I'm now at Columbia College, where I serve as the chair of the biology program, the chair of our brand new Master of Science Educators, or Master of Biology for Science Educators for all you teachers out there, and also the Assistant Director of Honors. Here at Columbia College, we have been a primarily women undergraduate program or college for the past 160 years up until this semester. So I do know a thing or two and am passionate about supporting and mentoring women in science. At Columbia College, we have a variety of STEM degrees. We have biology, biochemistry, chemistry, nursing, community and public health, exercise science, computer and information science, math, and much more. So I look forward to talking more with you guys about this today. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next, we can have Teresa Gardner.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Gardner. I'm the Associate Vice President of the SINT at Florence Darlington Technical College. And I'm really excited to be here. I'm from Florence. I did my undergraduate at Francis Marion University and then got my master's degree, interestingly, in economics from Clemson University. And so you wonder how an economics major ended up in life sciences. What I'll tell you is this conference, because everything we're doing here today supports our state and economic development and creating great jobs for students like y'all. What I would say to you about the degrees that we offer, there are 16 two-year colleges in the state, and for every degree, program that you hear about at a four-year university or in an industry today, there are dozens of two-year college degrees that support those. So think technicians running everything from machines to supporting engineers, all of the life sciences, all of the lab techs, all those kinds of programs. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you can go ahead and take it away, Dr. Silke Heinrich.
Hi guys, thanks for joining and thanks for having me. I'm Silke Heinrich. I work at the Biomedical Engineering program for the University of South Carolina. The University of South Carolina is a public research university with a main campus being in Columbia, South Carolina. But we do have 7 regional campuses all across the state with about more than 35,000 students, more than 27,000 of these are undergrads, in more than 60 different degrees. Lots of them are STEM degrees. We have the more generalized sciences like biology, anthropology, chemistry, biochemistry, maths, statistics, nursing, public health, pre-med, pre-pharma, but also very specialized fields like experimental psychology, neuroscience, or cardiovascular technology. So there's lots to choose from. I work for the College of Engineering and Computing. We have 10 majors in that college. 4 of these are computer science related. And then we have all other engineering degrees as we have aeronautical, we have biomedical engineering, that's where I'm from, chemical, civil, electrical, mechanical. I think I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so I am the lab director for the biomedical engineering program. As such, I lead all of our undergrads through their 1-year lab experience in junior year. I'm also responsible for maintaining some of our common research labs that we share amongst faculty. And I do some student advising and also assessment for the college. All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And last but not least, we have Dr. Victoria Turgeon. You can go ahead.
Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. So I'm Dr. Victoria Turgeon. I'm actually a transplant from West Virginia. I went to Randolph-Macon Women's College, which is now a co-ed college called Randolph College, and got my PhD at Wake Forest in neurobiology and anatomy, and then transitioned very quickly to Furman. I've been here 22 years, and I've been involved in everything from the biology department to neuroscience. I now direct our Master of Science in Community Engaged Medicine. In terms of looking at our STEM fields, we have all the traditional, STEM fields that you would expect to see. I think what sets us apart a little bit is as a private undergraduate institution, we have a neuroscience major, not a concentration or a minor, but an actual major that's interdisciplinary between biology, chemistry, and psychology. We also have a public health major, and one of the aspects of being a liberal arts college is being able to blend a lot of the humanities courses with the science classes and majors. So we see a lot of double majors that then are able to utilize things like business and science, or Spanish and sciences. And so I look forward to speaking with you all about what we offer at Furman, and not only as an undergraduate institution, but also some of our master's programs as well.
Wow, thank you all so much for sharing information about each of your colleges. So for Dr. Starmas and Dr. Turgeon, this question is for you. Majoring in science can be really challenging for both an undergraduate and a graduate degree. So what tips would you give high school students on how to prepare for the rigor of college and postgrad science classes? And Dr. Turgeon, you can go ahead and speak first.
Sure. So I would say that for any major, one of the first things to do is to learn how to become organized and to set a very good schedule in terms of how do you study. I think where I get some of the brightest freshmen coming in, and they are overwhelmed that first semester because high school was so easy for them. They never learned how to study. They never developed good study habits. So I think that is essential regardless of which major you're going into. Life sciences are so exciting, and there are so many opportunities. I think, as you saw at the beginning, as Morgan was explaining, there's so many opportunities for you to get volunteer internship experience, even as high school students. We do offer at Furman a high school undergraduate research experience, and I know a lot of other colleges and universities do the same. Be well read. Think about how science is going to impact not just your own particular interest, but what is the impact that you can have out in your community. And seek mentors. You are the fourth group of high school girls, I should say women, that I've spoken to in the past 2 weeks. Get out there and meet people and find out who might share an interest of yours. And don't be afraid to ask someone to be your mentor.
Okay, thank you for your advice.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, Dr. Starmas, go ahead.
I'm going to just reiterate a couple of the things that Dr. Turgeon has just introduced here, but learn time management, learn how to study effectively, practice making connections in material with topics on the news or TV. You've got a number of biomedical topics right now that are dominating all of the headlines. So look into the current events and seek the detail and understanding of what's happening from a science perspective. Find opportunities for experiential learning. This can be anything that's hands-on. And then one of the things that I see most in my freshmen is establishing mastery of basic subject areas. So take advantage of AP classes and dual enrollment classes that you have while you're in high school, but don't think of them in terms of just advancing and getting through college faster. Use them to really establish solid fundamentals, because if you think about building a house, or I have 2 young kids, and so we're building Legos, right? So you want to think about building those towers and making sure your foundation is really, really strong, so that as you narrow in and you build your tower taller, or you're building a house, you have a really, really strong foundation that will support all of your advanced coursework. So use your basic subject areas for biology and math and chemistry, and use those really to form the foundation of all of your advanced degree work.
Yes, I would tell everyone to take that advice. I wish I had known all of that before coming to college. So definitely take that advice and run with it. So I have a question for Dr. Marsh and Teresa Gardner. So majoring in science can open the door to many opportunities career-wise. How do I figure out which life science career is right for me? Either one can go ahead and start. If you want to, Teresa, you can go ahead.
This is such a broad question. It's hard to know where to start, because there are so many opportunities. Just listening to all the majors that have been described, just top of mind from USC, from all of these wonderful institutions. What I would say is, get into your general engineering, those kinds of courses, and what you'll see is there exist programs that you had no idea of, right? I'm really excited. This is such a great day for us because 2 women won the Nobel Prize today for chemistry on the day that we're doing this. And they're working with CRISPR, which is, you know, how cool is that? And it's just that no one could, when I was your age, no one could have comprehended that such a thing would exist. And so there are so many opportunities that you aren't even aware of yet. And I would say to you too, when looking for mentors, reach out to all of the women who are on this panel, but not on Facebook. You know, reach out on LinkedIn, because and find other people on LinkedIn that are working in a field that, you know, you look at I saw someone on the chat that said, I want to be, you know, an astrophysicist at NASA. Well, find the women astrophysicists at NASA on LinkedIn and ask to connect with them, because they'll be thrilled that you did. And you just never know what kind of connections you're going to make. So I think the most important thing is just to be very open-minded. You never know what you might walk into in a class or in an internship that'll open a brand new door for you. Thanks.
Okay, I'll jump in. Once you get to college, and thank you for sharing all of those wonderful ideas with us. Once you get to college, most programs have elective courses within your major. So a great way to explore things you think you might be interested in is to take elective classes in an area you might be interested in: microbiology, marine biology, immunology, just to see if you actually do like the content. Another great thing about college and science is that we offer hands-on labs. And so if you think you might want to be a microbiologist, when you take a microbiology course, you actually get into the lab and get hands-on experience with real-life techniques to see if that's something that really, you know, fuels your interest and your passion. Another great thing to do is to do internships once you are in college in an area that you might be interested in. At Columbia College, we offer academic credit for internships, and I know that a lot of other colleges do that as well. So if you think, for example, you might like to be a physical therapist, go intern with a physical therapist. In college, I was a college athlete and I had a major injury, and I spent a lot of time with a physical therapist. And I thought, okay, I love this person. I love being at the physical therapist's office. This is what I want to do. And then I did an internship in physical therapy, and I actually hated it. Not that there's anything wrong with physical therapy, but from the therapist side, I did not love it. From the patient side, I loved it. So if I had not done that internship, I could have gone and applied to physical therapy school and realized that I didn't like it. So definitely take advantage of internships. Also, look at research with faculty members on your campus, and on other campuses. There are lots of summer programs where you can get experience doing research in all different areas. And there's no better way to decide what you want to do than having experience doing it. So that would be my advice.
Well, thank you both so much. So this question is for Dr. Henrich. So as a fellow woman in bioengineering, what is the best part of being a woman in this male-dominated field? And why did you choose biomedical engineering?
Yeah, hi, Amanda. That's right. I never did explain my background, and you can hear from my voice, I am not American. I grew up in Germany. I did my bachelor's and my master's in bioengineering, my PhD in Australia in molecular sciences. And then I went back to biomedical engineering. And I'll explain or answer the second part of the question first, because that's the easy part. Why did I go into bioengineering? I was, when I was your age in high school, just immensely fascinated by the human body, both the physiology, but even down to the cellular and molecular level. It seems so perfect and so complex. You couldn't think of a machine that just is so incredibly perfectly tuned. So that fascinated me. And also I really liked troubleshooting, solving problems. If you like riddles and puzzles and answering questions, you never have to ask yourself if science is for you. It just is. So I was looking for a way to combine that love of solving a problem for the human body, for human health. And without, and that's important for me, without having to cut someone open. So, you know, when people think of healthcare, they immediately think of working with patients, a physician or a nurse. And as much as I would love to be able to do that, I can't. Like, it just wasn't for me. So I was looking for a way of solving a healthcare problem, but in the background, you know, designing drugs, designing medical devices and pharmaceuticals, things like that. So that's why I started this field. And yes, if you are in the sciences, even probably amplified in engineering, obviously, you will find yourself in meetings where you are the woman. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say there's no challenges to that and there's no obstacles. That's not true. But you have to take them just like that. They're challenges, and they do make you a better scientist in the end, right? Overcoming challenges, overcoming problems. That is a definition of science to me. So the best scientists are never the ones who had everything handed to them. So do take it as a challenge. But also on the flip side, if you think of science and you think of a scientist, don't think of a person who sits in their private study just thinking, and then yelling, Eureka, I have it. It's a very collaborative, very interdisciplinary teamwork. You'll always be part of a team. And yes, sometimes you're the woman in the team, but the worst team you can have is a bunch of clones. You need all these different viewpoints. You need all these different angles. So in a team, if you think of a medical problem, we don't want a bunch of men just to solve a medical, we need those female viewpoints. And if you think of engineering design, people always think, or one of the things I find people thinking and telling me this, that engineering is not a very creative discipline, you're just pushing numbers around or something, but it's not. You have a problem, you're trying to find a solution. And the definition of design is to find as many solutions as you can and then find the best one, right? Tone it down to the best one. So we need people to think outside of the box. We need different viewpoints, different backgrounds, different angles. And again, the best team you can get is a really diverse team that has different viewpoints. So to be that key player that does bring a different viewpoint is actually something I do enjoy. So when you sit in a team and you're the minority, you are a very important person on that team. And that's what you need to remind yourself of. We need you at the table. We need these different backgrounds, not just in gender, in all backgrounds. We need them to come to the best solution.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing today. We are approaching our time, but does any of our panelists have any final remarks to say about their programs or about their school, or any advice to any of the attendees today? Okay, awesome. And if any of our attendees today have any questions, please save our questions for the breakout sessions and coming up in just a little bit. So that just about wraps up our time today with our fantastic representatives from our universities. There is no time like the present, so go ahead and read more about applying to these universities today. Links to their application sites are now in the chat. These women are the true definition of what it means to succeed both academically and professionally. Thank you for sharing with us today, and we are extremely honored to have you here. There is truly no time like the present, so go ahead and read more about applying to these universities today, and so check that out in the chat. Now I'd like to turn it over to our Executive Vice President of SCbio, Erin Ford, to introduce our featured speaker of today.
Thank you so much. We are so excited. What wonderful advice that our panelists provided. There's so many options for the career you seek. And we're grateful for the fantastic academic institutions in our state who help educate and develop the next generation of talent in the life sciences. I am Erin Ford, Executive Vice President of SCbio, and I feel privileged to work in this industry. And I don't have a science background. I went to college and studied communication, started my career as a sports broadcaster. You remember how Morgan talked about how she wanted to be on those sidelines. And so I covered sports for local television stations. Then I produced documentaries for PBS. And then I came here to South Carolina, took another career path in economic development, recruiting life science companies to our state, then went to work for a medical device company in the upstate here, and then became board chair of SCbio. And then I took a job here to work on the staff of SCbio. No math involved, although I will say there is some math involved these days. I'm so happy that I have taken the opportunities presented to me. And that's where I really share my story, even if they were out of my comfort zone. And meeting and listening to successful women share their stories is a great way to figure out what is next. that leads us to our next special guest. It is so important to have women representation in leadership in our roles that are making pharmaceuticals and medical devices, COVID vaccines, and so much more. And the one woman who continues to make an impact is in the life sciences is Dr. Charlotte Jones-Burton. And she is joining us today. She is Vice President, Global Clinical Development of Nephrology at Otsuka, Pharmaceutical Development and Commercialization. Dr. Jones-Burton is dedicated to creating healthier communities globally through drug development, patient advocacy, and people engagement. Her three-pronged approach reflects her personal values of community, service, and health and wellness. And we are thankful to PhRMA, today's presenting sponsor, for their commitment to women in STEM in South Carolina, for connecting us to Dr. Jones-Burton. And Dr. Jones-Burton has, yes, there's still so much more to share. 20 years experience in clinical research, healthcare disparities, and drug development. But you know what, Dr. Jones-Burton, let's get right to it, right? So what I've talked, there's so many things that you do, and your title could sound a little intimidating, right? So help us understand what you do and your company does.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me, Erin, and thanks for that warm welcome and introduction to all the ladies and attendees that are joining us this morning. As you mentioned, it can be intimidating, that title and all those fancy words. So hopefully I can just break it down a little bit and make it in plain English. The medicines that we take when we're not feeling well, those medicines have all had a similar journey in that they have had to be studied to make sure that they are safe and that they work. And that is what I have done for the past 15 years in the pharmaceutical industry, working with very smart people and leading teams of scientists who really want to ensure that people, when they're sick, have options, and the medicines that they reach for in their medicine cabinet are safe and do what they say that they're supposed to do. So that's really what all of that means.
Well, thank you for breaking it down. So we know what you do today, but let's go back, right? When you were a young girl, you have Southern roots, like the girls watching here today, growing up in Arkansas. What helped you realize your gift, that you had a gift for caring for people?
Yes, I absolutely have Southern roots. I'm not from South Carolina, but I am from Arkansas. And I grew up in a single parent household. And when my mother went to work, I spent a lot of time with my maternal grandmother, known affectionately to me as Madia. And my grandmother had diabetes and all the complications that go along with that. And you can see her pictured in one of the pictures below. And she had diabetes, and a part of the diabetes is her eyesight wasn't so good. So she spent time taking care of me, but now as I reflect back, I spent time taking care of her. And I remember distinctly around the age of 8 or 9, having to help her with her insulin. And at that time, it had to be stored in the refrigerator. So I remember opening the refrigerator door, pulling out the insulin, using the syringe to draw her medication, and actually giving her the injection. And what came of that was so much gratitude from my grandmother of me being there with her day in and out, really helping her care for her diabetes and for herself. And that instilled in me that I had a gift to care for others. I also spent time talking to my baby dolls, and really, some people say I bossed them around when it was school time, and then others say I took care of them when they got sick. And so all of those things really fed into my desire to care for people. And I really took that with me as I thought about what is it that I have a gift for and what can I do? And I aspire to be a doctor.
That's amazing. So you have your gift of caring is realized. Now, how do you figure out what you want to do from there? Who did you see doing what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so what I'll say is there was a script in my mind really from my mother. who instilled in me to think big and dream big. And we can talk a little bit about, what that, how I internalized that. But she also told me that I was going to be a doctor. And so not really seeing a lot of doctors where I grew up other than my pediatrician, I then saw someone on TV one day, and her name was Dr. Alexa Kennedy. And she was a pediatric neurosurgeon, a Black woman. And I really latched on to her as someone who I wanted to be like one day when I grow up. And while I didn't become a pediatric neurosurgeon, I did become a physician, and I owe it to my mother and Alexa Kennedy and I still haven't met her, but I can tell you that I spent a lot of time reading about her, and I had a picture of her in my house. So she really became my North Star.
So yeah, I love that your mom's words of wisdom, that think big, dream big, right? So clearly she was a great supporter. Not everybody has great support systems. Some of the girls watching might not have a big cheerleader. So what would you recommend they do?
Yeah, one of the things that I always recommend is that we have positive beliefs. And so we look at what we have versus what we don't have. And, Gandhi said, your beliefs become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions. And that's really why that's important. And so what I would say is similar to me finding Dr. Alexa Kennedy, who today I still have never met, that you have to seek out individuals who you may never meet, who can inspire you to continue to move forward. There are also people who are around you. Seek out those who believe in you. I think that's very important. We don't want any non-believers. So seek out those who believe in you and those who you believe in. And I think it's so important to do the work. And our panelists, some of them spoke about how to identify mentors, what's the proper protocol to reach out to them on LinkedIn, even in your schools, in your communities. Identify people who can mentor you. Ask people what their story is. I mean, Erin, you have an amazing story. You didn't study science and you're in life sciences. Oh my goodness, what a great story. So the more you seek people out, you ask them their story, then you can identify those in whom you can then aspire to be.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's very nice and such great advice. Now, let's go on the flip side, right? So then we have some girls know exactly what they want to do. They have a big plan, spend a lot of time. You spent a lot of time in school, as you mentioned, earning an undergraduate degree, an MD, a master's degree. Were you ever overwhelmed? And how important is it to be open to things that maybe aren't planned?
Yeah. It's been a journey. It continues to be a journey, but guess what? You're gonna be on a journey no matter what you do, right? So you might as well dig deep and decide what it is that you want and go after that, go after the things that you're passionate about. That's super important. Yes, I was overwhelmed at times. And what did I do? I took time to really just go back to those principles that my mother instilled in me. Having words of affirmation is really important, and being a part of a tribe that can help you. I truly believe in the power of the collective. And what's so interesting is that the two women that won the Nobel Prize today, they were quoted as saying, science is cool and you can have great girlfriends if you go after science. So I think it's super important that you have a network around you so that when you do feel overwhelmed, you have people who can tell you that it's okay, you can do it, and move forward.
So definitely words of wisdom. And what an amazing day. It's sort of like, getting all verklempt, right? With all of these good feelings. This is wonderful. And we have many teachers, guidance counselors, principals, even legislators committed to education at this virtual event today. So what is your recommendation to them to help these future women leaders in a career path in the life sciences?
Yes, so what I would say to all of them, to remember that there is power in words, and that it is important to believe in our future generations, and to do what we can do to not only offer advice, but to uplift them as well. That's so important. In this world that we live in, we have to latch on to people who can inspire us and who can believe in us. So I would ask them to remember that there is so much power in what they are saying and who they are for our future generation.
It's right. You never know who you're going to impact with what you're saying. So yeah, it's so important. Well, and I've been sort of trying to keep an eye on the chat that's going on. Everyone is loving your story, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of connections that after this from South Carolina. So we're so happy that you took your time today to share your story with us, and we'll be sure to check back in with you. So you haven't seen the last of us.
Absolutely. If there is anything that I can do, please let me know.
Okay. Well, we will definitely hold you up to that, and we will continue to think big, dream big, and again, we appreciate this, and girls that are watching today, we're so excited that we've been able to have Dr. Jones-Burton share her story. And I'm going to send things back to my fabulous colleague, Morgan Nichols, and she's going to get us to the next segment. Morgan?
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Jones, you were a dynamite, and wow, what an amazing role model you are now for myself and for all the women watching. So thanks so much for joining us. And you're exactly right. Build that network, because that's truly what makes your life so sweet. So speaking of jobs, let's go ahead and bring on our next panel. Let's jump right to it. So while they're joining, and while you see their fabulous headshots that we're going to share, I want to know, what are your career goals? I feel like that should be a hashtag career goals. What are your career goals? What do you want to be, when you grow up, so to speak? Or maybe you don't know, and that's okay. But share it with us in the chat, because I would love to see that. Looks like we've got a deputy surgeon, medical missionary, occupational therapist, forensic scientist, Q&A, dermatologist. So wow, the future of South Carolina looks so bright with you all in it. And I'm so excited to introduce to you some fantastic panelists that we've got joining us this morning, who are really examples of female leaders in the state of South Carolina that are making a true impact. So help me welcome Aubrey Kane, R&D Microbiology Supervisor at Nephron Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Sabrina Hasty, Manager of Product Development at RhythmLink, Joy Pringle, Senior Manager of Celsius Technical Services at Charles River Lab, and Mary Catherine DeFilippo, Accessioning Manager at Vicor Scientific. So we've got all of our wonderful panelists here today, and I kind of want to jump directly to it. So to get started, please introduce yourselves, your company, and let me know a little bit more about your day-to-day. So we'll kick it off with you, Aubrey.
Good morning. First, I'm really happy that I jumped on early, because I feel empowered and I feel inspired already by everyone that I've been listening to. So I just want to say thank you for even having me on here. So yeah, I'm Aubrey Kane. I work at Nephron Pharmaceuticals in the microbiology department. As the R&D supervisor, I am responsible for three major things. One is we do investigations. Anything that's microbiology related, we do testing within the lab, but we also do environmental monitoring to make sure that no bad bacteria or not too many bacteria are in our clean rooms where we make our sterile pharmaceutical products. And if anything is recovered that's outside of specifications, my group leads the investigation to identify how the bacteria got there, and how we resolve it. We implement corrective and preventive actions that help the entire facility remain in a state of control, and to basically ensure that our products are always going to customers completely sterile and safe. The next thing that I do is we do aseptic process simulation. So they're called media fills. Basically, we take bacteria food and we put them through all of our filling systems. We take it through from the start of formulating the drug. We do that with bacteria food, and then we fill it manually into syringes through automated equipment into different type of vials. We simulate like for like a mirror image using bacteria food, and basically we show that because bacteria never entered any of those syringes, or it didn't enter a tube set, or it didn't enter the process, our process is validated as sterile. And so it really helped. It's exciting because I get to understand the production aspect, the formulation aspect of things, and then show through a microbiology perspective, I really get to prove that our process is sterile and that our products are sterile. It's really rewarding. And then the last major thing that I do is we do method development. So microbiology is responsible for sterility testing, bioburden testing, endotoxin testing, all of these quality control test methods. And the R&D group researches and develops if we have, a new product that's going to be added into our, list, our large growing catalog of pharmaceutical drug products that we make. We have to figure out how we test it. We set up the sterility test. We make sure that if there's ever a tough organism to recover, we have a method set up that we can recover it. And we prove that in triplicate, and we do suitability studies to verify once we actually go to market with that drug product, we have the methods that verify that it is safe.
Awesome. And I actually had the great privilege to also intern at Nephron Pharmaceuticals, and it's so wonderful to see all that you all do there. So moving right along, let's hear from Joy, who's at Charles River Lab, which is an awesome company down in Charleston.
Hi, ladies. My name is Joynette Pringle, and I am the Senior Manager for Celsus Technical Service at Charles River Laboratories. So I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware. I've been working in the science industry for 19 years now. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree from Delaware State University. So I started working at Charles River in Newark, Delaware, and I was able to transfer to the beautiful Low Country. I've been at Charles River for about 13 years now. So one of the things that we are really most known for at Charles River is being able to detect bacteria endotoxin with the assistance of horseshoe crabs. So bacterial endotoxin, it's the outer cell membrane, and it's generally with gram-negative bacteria. So testing the endotoxin is extremely important because if you do have endotoxin, what could happen is it could give you chills, you could end up being sick. And also what could actually happen is it could also affect the breathing, and you could have breathing difficulties. So the interesting thing with the horseshoe crab is when it actually comes into contact with endotoxin, it actually clots and it surrounds the endotoxin, which is really, really good. And we are able to do this by looking at the blue copper-rich blood of the horseshoe crab. So what we do at Charles River is we actually manufacture a drug safety product. So at Charles River, we have over 17,000 employees in 20 countries around the globe. It's very nice for us to be able to assist with pharmaceutical companies, biotechnology companies, government agencies, and also hospitals. So one of the proud things that I'm really happy about in regards to Charles River is that we actually support the development of approximately 85% of the drugs that are approved by FDA in 2019. So in regards to my job at Charles River, it really focuses on providing the customer with a rapid micro method so they're able to test their products to assure that they are sterile and free of microorganisms. So on a day-to-day basis, what I'm doing is working with my team to support customers with their lab applications and providing them with troubleshooting opportunities or if they have any questions. I also prepare and execute studies and support claims for new products. I spend maybe around 30% of my time in the microbiology lab and probably around 70% of my time as a liaison between different departments. Also, in regards to my job, I do a lot of customer training and also internal training, which does allow me to travel globally. So I can go to different countries, Germany, Ireland, India, Singapore, to also assist with global technical teams.
Well, that is wonderful, and I've loved getting to know Charles in the lab. And I know we've got a lot of attendees here today who might like to travel, they like science, they like marine biology. So what a fantastic, combination of all their interests. So thanks for being with us here today. Next up, we've got Mary Catherine from Vicor, who has been very busy recently. So Mary Catherine, give us a little bit about what you've been up to in your day-to-day at Vicor.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. How are you? Yeah, so Vicor, I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with Vicor, but we're a molecular pathology lab. My department is the accessioning department, so it consumes specimen processing, data entry, and everything from a pre-analytic process before the samples hit the main lab. My primary objective every day is to focus on efficiency and accuracy in terms of specimen processing. So our samples come into the lab. We have a team of 30 to 40 specimen processors that have to verify patient identifiers on sample tubes with the paperwork, obviously make sure everything matches up appropriately. And then depending on what test is ordered, the next step in the processing happens. As you can see from that picture there, you see the test tubes aligned in the trays and then the copious amounts of paperwork that we receive every day. So after that step, my internal team takes the data from the paperwork and inputs it into the system. And then we have massive checks and balances to make sure, obviously, that the patient is receiving the right results, that the data is accurate from the lab standpoint, and that the reporting that happens around 5:30 in the morning is then accurate based on my team's work. We promised a 24-hour turnaround time, so these days I don't get much sleep, but it's all worth it because one of Vicor's passions is no patient left behind. So we help around 15,000 patients a day in terms of respiratory panels, in determining what's wrong, why are they sick, what's going on with the pneumonia. We have a urine panel as well that works with a lot of long-term care facilities in determining why these elderly individuals are running a fever. Does it have to do with something much deeper that can be determined on our panels? And then we have a PhRMA team that sits in the upstate where they offer recommendations for whatever's going on that urine panel, that wound panel, that vaginal panel. Everything that encompasses molecular pathology we do here at Vicor. We started with about 30 employees pre-pandemic and then expanded to almost 400 internally and I think close to 300 out in the field working on the business side of things. So with that turnaround time of 24 hours, urgency, accountability, checks and balances with my specimen processing team and then also the data entry portion is crucial. And so during the pandemic, obviously, getting results to these patients in a matter of 24 hours is the difference between ending up on a ventilator or not. So I take great pride in my work and my team of almost 70 now that works from early in the morning until sometimes midnight, 3 a.m. to get these samples processed and then in the system. So that's a little bit about what I do day to day. I graduated from Clemson University with a biology degree. Like a lot of our panelists today, I'm very proud to graduate from Clemson and really, really proud of what we're doing here at Vicor. I think I've found a true passion in helping people, whether that's obviously don't have a doctor's degree or a medical degree in helping them from a patient standpoint, but what we're doing here at Vicor is very important for patient outcome and patient care all the way around.
Absolutely. And you all have been such an asset to the state of South Carolina and really to the country as you process over 20,000 COVID test kits a night, I believe the last stat was. So everyone who's watching today, if you've ever been tested for COVID, that's what Vicor is doing, is helping to process those tests as well. So we give a big thank you to all that they're doing to help fight this pandemic. And so last but not least, we've got Dr. Sabrina Hasty from Rhythm Link, which is in the Midlands. Would like to bring her on and share a little bit about her company and her day-to-day.
Hey everybody, my name is Sabrina Hasty. I am representing from the engineering side of things. So if you're wanting to be an engineer, can I get a woot woot on the chat? I am from Orangeburg, South Carolina. I went to Clemson University. I got my bachelor's degree in materials engineering, and then I went on to get my PhD in biomedical engineering at Brown University. And now I am currently working at Rhythm Link. And Rhythm Link, what we do is we connect patients to machines. So we are the device that connects you to a machine to get some kind of recording. The devices that we focus on specifically are IOM, so interoperative neuromonitoring. What that is specifically is the continual surveillance of your nervous system during a surgery that can help reduce injury during that surgery. So if you're going in for a screw in your back, you don't want to wake up being paralyzed. And so the devices that we create from an IOM perspective basically delivers electrical impulses. And so if the surgeon is getting close to a nerve that they don't need to be around while they're doing their surgery, the devices that we make when you send electrical impulses through there will give feedback and let the doctor know, hey, you're getting close to a nerve, you may want to reroute where you're going. So that's from the nervous system side of things. We also make devices for EEG, so electroencephalography. And that basically is a method of monitoring brain activity. So we'll make the electrodes that connect to your head that then connect to a machine that allows us to be able to monitor if you're having a seizure or if you're having a stroke or any other kind of abnormal brain activity. It allows that recording to be able to happen. Another area that we focus in is we help hospitals with certain systems that they want. So it may seem really simple, but if we can save time for the hospital because they have a certain way of doing things and modifying a product of ours to help them more quickly be able to get the data that they need for their patient, then that's a success in our book. And so we do a lot of custom work to be able to help aid in that area. Me personally, as being the manager, we're a smaller company, so the fun thing about that is that you get to be hands-on from the conceptual perspective all the way down to seeing it commercialized and available and in production routinely. To be able to get a medical device to market requires a lot of regulatory, a lot of work with the FDA. And so my job is multitasking from the design aspect of it, working with our quality team, working with our regulatory team, making sure that we are creating a safe and effective device, working with the FDA, getting all the testing and the documentation they need to say, hey, yeah, you have a safe and effective device and we're gonna let you be clear to market it. So there's a lot that goes into that, but that's kind of a quick summary. Teamwork and communication is huge in order to get a medical device and working with a bunch of different people. We also have a quick video, just of a quick introduction to Rhythm Link and kind of a little bit about what we do and the customization. And, you know, if there's a problem that needs to be solved, working with the clinicians and taking that and running with it to get them something that will help save patients' lives in the end.
When it comes to health, time and information are everything, not just for the patients who need help, but for those assisting them as well. Often the patient can't say what's wrong, and doctors and nurses have to rely on medical devices and monitoring to help make tough decisions for their care. Fast, reliable data becomes the key to an accurate diagnosis or care plan. To help patients in need, healthcare providers that work in intraoperative monitoring, EEG, And critical care settings need the best tools available to them, and to know that the data they collect is worthy of their trust.
When I was a clinician just starting out in healthcare, I worked in the operating room and I was able to help basically one person a day. And as I started to think about what my goal in life was, it was to help as many people as I could. And while it was wonderful to help 1 or 2 people a day in the operating room, I started to think, how could I start to impact many, many lives every single day? And that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to start a company and get involved in medical devices, because that way I could make devices that helped improve the lives of patients and impact 1 or 2 or 10 or even thousands of people a day. Here at RhythmLink, we simply want to help as many people as we can while we can. And to do that, we've created medical devices that impact people in the state, nationally, and internationally.
A clinician may like 2 of the products that we have, but only parts of each. Another option can be, okay, we love what you have, but the length isn't quite where we need it. So can you make this longer? Can you make this shorter? We kind of can customize your packaging. If you like a product, but you don't like the way it's packaged because when you open it, it needs to do this, we can work on the custom packaging for you. Because a hospital may come to us with their system in place, they want us to do a certain color pattern because they already have this particular system in place. And so we can modify and customize that to whatever colors they need because it helps on their end of being able to do it quickly, efficiently, and accurately. So we are trying to help the clinicians address the needs that they have so that they can help give the best quality care to the patients to be able to help their quality of life.
We have a stated goal here at RhythmLink that by 2026, we will have connected 100 million patients by that time. And each patient that we connect, we either eliminate or reduce the risk of paralysis or stroke or some other type of dangerous event from happening. The company's success is based entirely on the people that work here. It's been a wonderful experience tapping into what people want to do, and they go above and beyond the call of duty. And that's really been a key factor in our success and our growth over the years. It's the people that work here that are going to impact millions of lives across the globe.
Wow, Dr. Hasty, and really everyone here today, that is our why. I mean, affecting millions of patients across the globe. I mean, that is incredible, and what an amazing statement for the life sciences. So thanks, Dr. Hasty, for sharing that video with us today. So continuing on with our panel, I do want to have a kind of a targeted question to Joy with Charles River and Aubrey with Nephron. So I want to hear a little bit more about your journey since you were in high school, how you got to where you are now, and any advice to our panelists today that might be wanting to do what you do. So Joy, we'll kick it off with you.
Sure, so I can go ahead and get started. So I really always had a passion for science. One of the interesting things was in high school, if someone was doing a dissection, I was in that class. So I always wanted to do that. The scary thing is, you know, sometimes they would, you know, allow you to bring the skeleton home. So it slightly terrified my parents, but I do believe that I turned out okay. So just going into science, and then after I graduated, it was extremely hard to get, you know, a job in my field. So I kind of just started out with chemistry. I had tons of chemistry classes. So I started from there, and then I continued to work my way up. So even though I really wanted to end with microbiology, I even moved into customer service where I would still be allowed to go into the lab, look at the colonies on the plate. I had the experience. So it was really more of a stepping stone for me. And then at the very end, I ended up with, you know, the job that you really wanted to do. So I think the best thing to do is really get into the door. Tons of people have already discussed this. Go on LinkedIn, reach out to folks, do internships, even if you volunteer. When I was in high school, you know, I think it was called a cherry, you know, striper back then. I was in the hospital volunteering, not making any money, but you really got to see that patient interaction, and it really helped me out along the way. So I would just say, you know, do your best. Don't just say you really want to go into science. You know, take a step forward, do the internships, and go out there and do it.
Absolutely. And speaking of internships, I know there's a lot of interns at Nephron. So Aubrey, tell us a little bit about your journey and any advice you have to these attendees here today.
Well, I'm from South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. I went to Spring Valley High School, and have always had a passion for healthcare. I've wanted to be a doctor since as long as I could remember, a medical doctor. And then I went to Wofford College because of their pre-med program and their biology department. And when I went to Wofford, it's kind of like I realized that I had been living in a box my whole life. I realized that there was so much more out there in terms of, you know, the diversity of, you know, life science careers. And my scope completely broadened. You know, I was still shadowing physicians, and I was still, you know, taking anatomy classes and physiology classes, and that was still my path forward. But as I continued down that path, I realized that what I wanted to do is I wanted to live a life where I was never going to stop learning. That's why I love science, is that it's an evolving field. There's always more that you have to be learning. You always need to be in the literature. You always need to be understanding that, you know, there's always something new right on the horizon. And that's when I realized I wanted to do research. I wanted to be doing something in an R&D capacity with a motivation to help people with healthcare in mind. And so I took it a couple of years after I graduated, and Wofford actually asked me to run all of their biology labs. And so I stayed there, and, you know, with all of my mentors, I was developing all of these lab methods, all of these lab modules, and I chose to study and teach there from a lab perspective, antimicrobial resistance for different bacterial strains. And doing that, I realized just how much I love to teach, how much I love teaching about, you know, microbiology, how much I love learning about microbiology, and how much I love watching others grow and realizing that, you know, learning life sciences and learning microbiology and learning that they're actually 10% human and 90% bacteria based on the number of cells, you know, human cells that make you up and the number of bacterial cells that make you up. And that was something that I love being part of that experience. And so coming from that, I started learning about pharmaceuticals, and I started learning about R&D microbiology opportunities. And I first started out with Nephron as just an analyst, you know, working in the lab. And I think that Nephron is really, really special in that, you know, it's a woman-owned and woman-run company. You know, the chief scientific officer is a woman, the chief executive officer is a woman, the chief quality officer is a woman. I mean, they are leading the charge, and I'm really, really lucky, and that's really what drew me there too, because I've never had to face a glass ceiling, and, you know, I never had to try to fight my way being, you know, a woman. I mean, yes, being a young woman, it is sometimes really hard to be immediately heard. You have to say it a couple of times when you say, this is what you should do, this is the path forward. Sometimes I have to repeat myself twice, but the thing is that you do repeat yourself twice. You know, you don't just stop when you hit an obstacle. And I think that the best thing is that my best advice would be that if you seek out advice, you know, you never should be complacent in how much you know, and you never should stop and say, yeah, I think I know enough. You never can know enough. You know, knowledge is power. And the thing that you should bring it to the table is, if you have a question, come with information, look it up, go to your tools, have some kind of understanding ready, be ready to have, you know, an intellectual conversation regarding your question, rather than, you're not a damsel in distress. If you don't know what to do next, don't just say, I don't know what to do, and throw your hands up. Ask a question, but be, have the knowledge with you. Look up something, read about it, dive into the literature first, and then come forward with an informed response, understanding this is what I know. These are all the paths I know we should take. From your experience, what's the best path forward? And that shows a lot of initiative. That shows that you have an understanding, that you're willing to learn. And I think that that's the thing that, has helped me keep moving from just a lab analyst to be in charge of research and development for the microbiology lab at Nephron. And it's a really great place that I've been able to learn. So I have to give it to, Lou and all of these other people that they lead the way that I have the opportunity to do that.
And what is so wonderful that Aubrey said is she was really inspired by the women that she saw at Nephron. Same goes with me, and the same goes with all of you here today. I hope you get inspired by some of these panelists that you are seeing that have worked so hard to get where they are today. So we are approaching time, but I've got one last question for Mary Catherine and Dr. Hasty. What is, speaking of females in the workplace, what's the biggest challenge that you have faced as a female in the life sciences industry? And Mary Catherine, we'll start with you. Oh, and you're muted.
Good now? Okay, sorry. I think one of the challenges is honestly still being treated equally and being taken very, very seriously. I actually deviated off the path of biology before coming to Vicor. I was actually working as a family risk manager at an insurance brokerage, and I dealt with a plethora of issues, and to the point where I went on maternity leave and I came back and I was like, you know what? There's more to life than, this job. I'm now working for a greater purpose. I'm working to be a leader for my, now 9-month-old, but at the time, obviously she was a newborn. And so I started just going down a different path, exploring other options, actually putting my degree to good use. And that's where I found Vicor and Shay Harrelson as my mentor. She's one of the owners of Vicor Scientific, and to see her leadership and her grace, I guess, with everything that she deals with on a daily basis, it was really, really inspiring to know, what, I took the right path. I left behind not being treated equally to come to Vicor Scientific, where I'm running an entire department now. Obviously it's very overwhelming at times, but it's very purposeful. And so knowing your worth, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that women face, and then obviously knowing your worth and being treated equally.
Mary Catherine, and how about you, Dr. Hasty?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is just that, I think, especially from an engineering perspective, women are the minority. So with that comes stereotypes. I think what you just mentioned. I mean, I have 2 kids, 2 and 1. I can still be a working mom and a mom. I mean, I can be a working female and a mom. It's okay. And it can come with certain expectations. It can come with higher stress. It can come with higher anxiety. Most of the meetings I'm in, I think it's been mentioned earlier, I am the only female in a meeting full of men. My advice for that is don't let that intimidate you. Be confident. They are no better than you are, and you are just as capable and just as smart as they are. You got there most likely the same way that they did. Don't be easily offended. Play to your strengths. Don't feel like you have to be a yes woman. And most importantly, I think you need to just work hard and be you. From my experience, hard work will earn you respect. And that stigma that can sometimes come with a female being in a male-dominated society can kind of diminish. Everything is about perspective. Think of being the only female working with a group of men as being a privilege. I get to be the woman in this room. I get to be the woman that people consider a subject matter expert. I get to be the woman who brings new perspective. And without my presence in the room, this product that can save millions of lives won't happen. So it's all about perspective, and you can do it. I think one more thing that can be challenging is that there aren't enough female role models. And enough career development opportunities. So my advice there is to network. We've seen it, and it's been said multiple times here. Network, and seek out the support that you need. There are strength in numbers. Just this meeting today, to me, I feel empowered, I feel encouraged, I feel inspired, excited, pumped. Surround yourself with women. Surround yourself with positivity. Don't wait for something to come to you. Grab the bull by the horns and you go after it. If there are things that you want to do to develop yourself, don't wait for your boss to come to you. Go to your boss and be like, I want this. I need to do this, and here's my plan forward. Don't be afraid to push yourself a little more. And whatever challenge that you're faced with, it's going to end up molding and shaping you to be able to continue to grow and to continue to be able to face the next challenge that's going to come your way.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about you all, but I'm feeling pumped up after that one. So a big thank you all of our wonderful panelists here today. All of your companies are so wonderful, and they're in the state of South Carolina and are giving back so much to our state, to our quality of life, and to our females that are in attendance. So thanks for being here today. And I think you're right. You know, women make up more than half of the population and are still significantly underrepresented in these fields. So that means these products that you've learned more about today that impact our daily lives, our medicine, our telephones, our cars, have been developed without input from women. And so it's vital that we continue to have the brightest minds go into the life sciences industry. And so I thank y'all for being here today to support that. Before we finish up today with one of our featured speakers, Lou Kennedy, we are going to have a quick professional development opportunity with you today. And doing that is Sarah Lynn of Tallo. So Tallo is actually Spanish for the word STEM. It's a company out of Mount Pleasant, and it is Tallo's mission to give the next generation of talent the ability to overcome traditional boundaries and connect with opportunities anytime and anywhere. So Tallo is formerly STEM Premier, if you've heard of that company, and they are an online platform to help you connect with scholarship, with opportunities, with internships. It's a career matching pathway. So I'm here today to help you design your Tallo profile is Sarah Lynn.
Yeah, thank you, Morgan. I so appreciate you allowing me to join. And I think Sabrina said it perfectly. I am feeling so empowered this morning, and I'm so grateful I've been able to tune in for both of the panels, which I thought were really incredible. So my job over the next few minutes, ladies, is to give you a nice action item to take all of the great information you've learned from the colleges and the companies about life sciences and to take that into a next step for your future. So I see a few people putting into the chat, and I've loved following the chat. It really is so empowering seeing everybody's responses to the different panels and sessions today. But what I'm going to be honing in on is Tallo, which is a free platform and app, which I'll go ahead and share my screen now, that allows young people and students all over the country and world to connect to opportunities in life sciences and beyond. So Tallo is a great place to create a professional presence online and to showcase what your interests are, your past achievements, and as you'll see here, your future goals and plans. We do serve over 100,000 users here in South Carolina and over 1 million worldwide. So I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat putting in the different ways that you're using Tallo. I love seeing that. Keep sharing. But for anyone who's not currently on Tallo, I just wanted to share how to get started and a few key fields to fill out so that we can continually connect you to the great colleges and companies you heard from today and more of the same kind. So looking here at this profile, I'm logged in as Maya Johnson. So she is a high school senior indicating an interest in not only the health sciences, but life sciences, so biology as well. And I do want to point out for anyone who's currently on Tallo and has built their profile, if you don't have that updated, please make sure your career interest is relevant to today, what you're seeking after high school. If your next step is college, make sure you update that to indicate what schools you're interested in attending, and so that the colleges who are viewing your profile are able to see some of your past experiences, your accomplishments, if you're in any student organizations at your high school, of course, what high school you're attending, and any other important information you choose to share. I do want to point out, because I saw in the chat some people mentioning the scholarships, that is one of the best features on Tallo. So once you build your profile, it is our job to help connect you to colleges and companies who are the right fit for you based on the information you shared. However, there's a lot of great tools and resources that you can use at any time. So I just clicked over to my dashboard. Every Tallo user has access to this. And I want to focus on Red Kite. Red Kite is a scholarship search engine. So you just heard from a lot of great colleges who have awesome degree options in the life sciences. Ensure that you don't have to pay as much as you might normally to pursue your education or your next step by finding scholarships now. So Red Kite provides new scholarship opportunities every 24 hours. Tallow also has a monthly scholarship that's typically pretty easy. So a one question survey, maybe asking your favorite movie. We want it low as barrier as possible for you to apply to these scholarships and financial aid opportunities. One other thing I'm going to point out in the profile, and then to wrap up before I hand it back over to Morgan, is my other favorite feature from the profile, and then of course, how you can actually sign up. If you've built out this profile, you might notice it looks kind of like an online resume. So if you're looking for part-time work, internships, apprenticeships, you name it, you can download this profile into a resume. So I've already gone ahead and done that just to show you a quick preview. If you have our app, so you have Tallow on your phone, you have a resume on hand at all times. All right, so to wrap up, there's two final things I want to point out: how to get started and a few opportunities we have upcoming in 2020 for our Tallow users. First and foremost, how to sign up. If you go to tallow.com, it's pretty easy, or if you download the app from the App Store, all you have to do is click sign up, and it's going to take you just a few minutes. So not a lot of information we're grabbing here. You're really looking at 5 minutes or so to set up this profile, and then you'll immediately have access to those scholarships and seeing what colleges and companies we work with. So in addition to signing up, so again, that's tallow.com and just clicking here to sign up. We also have a brand new service, and this is what I'll end with today. Tallow has ongoing virtual college and career fairs all throughout 2020, and we're lining them up for 2021. So I know I personally found a ton of value in being able to join an event like this from the comfort of my home. If you're interested in additional virtual opportunities to learn about more degree programs in life sciences and additional employers, I recommend that you sign up on Ping. It's our newest service that allows you to join virtual events here in South Carolina and beyond. So on that note, I'll pass it back over to Morgan, but it was such a pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to join.
Thanks, Sarah. And I definitely wish I had Tallow when I was in high school. What a fabulous tool to really connect with internships and scholarships and all the opportunities that are in South Carolina. So before we finish up today, to head into our breakout sessions to really allow you all to further connect with some of our panelists and special guests, I'm excited to introduce to you our closing speaker and someone very special to me, and that's Lou Kennedy, CEO of Nephron Pharmaceuticals. And Lou is someone that continues to push boundaries, continues to be that female role model in the life sciences, and she really knows no limit, and she's such a great role model for myself, and so I'm so excited for you all to get to know her. Nephron develops and produces safe and affordable generic inhalation solutions and suspension products. Nephron also recently announced a $215 million expansion, which will include production space to fill COVID-19 vaccines once ready. So please help me welcome for our final remarks and for the announcement of the 2020 Young Women in Life Sciences Scholarship Awards, CEO of Nephron Pharmaceuticals, Lou Kennedy. And I believe she might be having some difficulties. So in that case, we are going to turn it over to Dana, who I think is going to showcase one of our scholarship winners as well. So Dana?
Hey Morgan, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I have my video on, but I don't see myself.
Well, that's okay. We can see your name. So
okay, wonderful. Well, good morning, ladies, and it's been amazing to hear all of your industry background and your inspiration for even myself. And one thing I wanted to just to talk with you guys about is SCbio has a scholarship award program, and Lou was going to talk about two of the winners that were already kind of inundated part of the program. But MedPoint was so inspired by the desire of so many young individuals with a passion to learn and grow within our industry. So because of this, we decided to actually partner with SCbio on helping a third person, become a recipient of the scholarship award. And I'd like to congratulate Mackenzie Murphy from Deutsch Fort High School on this great scholarship award. I do believe Mackenzie is here with us today. Is that correct, Morgan?
Yes, so Mackenzie.
Wonderful. Mackenzie, if you could share a little more about yourself with us for those in attendance.
I'm a senior for school, and I'm interested in this field clearly. I'm really thankful to be selected for this scholarship. It's a big honor. I hope to attend Clemson next fall in biological science. That's the goal. Continue on to grad school or med school, depending on which route I take. But just thank you for letting me be here today.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mackenzie, and congratulations again. And go Tigers. I do hope your continued education goes well, and we're glad to be a part of that in just a small way. Morgan, I'm going to push it back to you now.
Awesome, awesome. And is Lou here to make the final remark? Lou Kennedy? Well, it looks like we're having some difficulty with her camera. So with that being said, I would love to congratulate Jennifer Lee and Shireen Cower for winning the other two SCbio scholarships. So Jennifer and Shireen, say hello to our panelists and tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much to SCbio and all the panelists. It's I'm sure everyone else feels very inspired and encouraged by this conference. So for me, I'm a senior at Academic Magnet. I'm really interested in neuroscience and psychology, as well as molecular biology. I hope to become a neuroscientist or maybe a neurosurgeon. I'm really interested in research. I've done a lot with type 1 diabetes. I've done with reward-seeking behavior with heroin. I'm also really interested in teaching and mentoring as well. But thank you so much. It's an honor to have this.
Thanks, Jennifer. And Shireen?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Shireen. I'm a senior at Dutch Fork High School. And like Jennifer, I'm actually really interested in neuroscience and going into neuroscientific research. But recently I did an internship at Lexington Medical, and I was exposed to all these different fields within health science. And I realized maybe I want to do something more general, like being a physician's assistant, because you can do so much with, just being in that hospital setting and helping all these patients. So yeah, I really want to potentially either go into neuroscientific research or become a PA. But yeah, thank you so much for the scholarship. Thank you so much for this opportunity. All the panelists are so inspiring and so empowering, and I'm excited to see what's more to come of SCbio. Thank you.
Shireen. And so we're going to give the opportunity to see if Lou Kennedy's camera is on for one more second. I don't believe so, but we're going to try to have her at our breakout session. So I'm going to hop on over to the breakouts. I've got my awesome colleague Amanda here to tell you all a little bit more about what's about to happen. So see everyone soon.
So now it's time for my favorite part. So you'll be able to ask one-on-one questions with our panelists and other featured guests. So if you haven't had the opportunity to flex your networking muscles, believe me, it's a skill that will take you far in life. I encourage you to take full advantage of this time and to practice your networking skills and meet new people. We'd like to thank some of our elected officials that'll be in the breakout rooms, and this includes Representative Celeste Davis, Representative Paula Calhoun, Representative Nancy Mace, and Representative Chandra Dillard. In addition, there's going to be more company representatives for you to ask questions to and talk with, including Greenwood Genetics Center, PL Developments, Translational Science Solutions, USC Upstate, and Claflin University. So if you can click the link that was just placed in the chat, you'll be able to head over to the next session. So we'll see you there.